towards Clat 2020. Today, in one such session with us, we have Ms. Dhwani Gupta, who is an English grammar specialist. And today's session is on topic of reading comprehension and tenses. Over to you, Dhwani.
Thank you, Harsh. Hello, everybody. My name is Dhwani Gupta. In today's session, we are going to discuss reading comprehension and tenses. So, like every session, let's start with the reading comprehension passage. So, first, I'm going to read out the passage, explain it to you, and then together we can solve the questions. So, let's get started. It is an old saying that knowledge is power. Education is an instrument which imparted knowledge and therefore indirectly controls power. Therefore, ever since the dawn of civilization, persons in power have always tried to supervise or control education. It has been the handmaid of the ruling class. During the Christian era, the ecclesiastics controlled the institution of education and diffused among the people the gospel of the Bible and religious teachings. So the writer is saying in the passage that education is the only instrument which gives us knowledge and therefore it controls power. So ever since when the civilization started, so people who were powerful always used to control education. So education has always been in the hands of the rich, in the ruling class. So during the Christian era, people which are associated to the church or clergymen, they used to control education and they used to spread the teachings of Bible among the people. Okay. These gospels and teachings were no other than a philosophy for the maintenance of the existing society. It taught the poor man to be meek and to earn his bread with the sweat of his brow, while the priest and the landlords lived in luxury and fought duels for the slightest offense. During the Renaissance, education passed more from the clutches of the priest into the hand of the prince. In other words, it became more secular. It was also due to the growth of the nation state and powerful monarchs who united the country under their rule. Thus, under the control of the monarch, education began to devise and preach the infallibility of its masters, the monarch or king. So the writer is saying that the teachings and the gospels which was spread by the Christian people were basically a philosophy for the maintenance of the society. It basically taught people that the poor man should work very hard to earn his livelihood, while the priest and the landlords always used to have a very luxurious life, and even they fought for slight crimes also. So during the Renaissance, there was a complete change. There was a lot of change. The education passed from the priest to the kings. So it was basically, there was a reason behind this because the powerful monarchs united their country under the rule. So at that time, at that era, when the education was shifted to the kings, the theory which was spread, which was very which spread there then was that the kings can never go wrong. So basically infallibility का मतलब होता है कि राज को मतलब कभी भी कोई गलती नहीं करना, कि कभी कोई गलती कर ही नहीं सकता. तो बेसिकली उस एरा पे ये टीचिंग्स, ये थ्योरी स्प्रेड हो गई थी कि जो आपका किंग करता है दैट इज करेक्ट, वो कभी कुछ गलत कर ही नहीं सकता है. It also invented and supported fantastic theories like the divine right theory and the king can do no wrong, etc. With the advent of the Industrial Revolution, education took a different turn and had to please the new masters. It now no longer remained the privilege of the baron class, but was thrown open to the new merchant class of society. Yet education was still confined to the few elite. The philosophy which was in vogue during this period was that of laissez-faire, restricting the function of the state to a mere keeping of law and order, while, on the other hand, in practice, the law of the jungle prevailed in the form of free competition and the survival of the fittest. So basically, the writer is saying that during that era, there was a theory which was named divine right theory, which meant that कि राजा कभी गलत हो ही नहीं सकते. It is because it is God themselves who had bestowed them with this duty of ruling the country. तो वो लोग कभी गलत हो ही नहीं सकते. But as industrial revolution took place, there was a drastic change. Now the education shifted from the hands of the kings to the basically to the people who controlled industries. But at that time also, education was confined to the rich people, to elite people. So the philosophy which spread during that period was that the state had to follow a policy of minimum interference, which means that their only function is to maintain law and order. But in reality, this is all baseless. In reality, there is jungle law prevailed everywhere, which means that the person who is strong, who is powerful, can survive. Otherwise, the weak, जो लोग weak हैं या जो लोग इतने powerful नहीं हैं, it is very difficult for them to survive in such a society. So this is the passage. Now it's time for the questions. Let's discuss the questions. What does the theory of divine right of king stipulate? So divine right of theory क्या कहती है, क्या कहलाती है? What does it mean? So the first option is that kings are gods. B, they have the right to be worshipped like gods by their subjects. C, that the right of governing is conferred upon kings by God. D, that the right of kings are divine and therefore sacred. So the first option is the king are gods. तो passage में बिल्कुल भी ये नहीं लिखा है कि जो kings हैं वही भगवान है. So this is completely wrong. This is irrelevant. Now let's move to the next option, which is they have the right to be worshipped like gods by their subjects. No, this is also not written in the passage कि वो लोग कि they should be regarded gods and they should be worshipped by their subjects. No, it is not written there in the passage. So even B is also wrong. C, that the right of governing is conferred upon kings by God. Yes, divine right theory का मतलब यही होता है कि जो वो लोग गवर्न करते हैं, जो वो रूल करते हैं पूरी कंट्री को, ये ड्यूटी भगवान ने खुद उनको दी है. तो दिस इज बेसिकली द डिवाइन राइट ऑफ किंग. D, option C is the correct answer. D, that the right of kings are divine and therefore sacred. No, this is also wrong. So option C is the correct answer. हमें word से ही पता चल रहा है divine right of king. Divine right means a right which is given by God, which is bestowed by God. So that is option C is the correct answer. Now the next question is, what does the expression handmaid of the ruling class mean? क्या मतलब होता है handmaid of the ruling class? There was written in the passage, education was the handmaid of the ruling class. Why? What does it mean? Private mistress of the prince? No. B, something fully under the control of the ruling class? Yes, this is correct. Handmaid of the ruling class मतलब कोई चीज जो कि ruling class के पास ही है, उन्हीं के control में है. So that is called handmaid of the ruling class. So option B is the correct answer. C, private maid servants of the prince? No, this is wrong. Nothing as such is mentioned in the passage. It is irrelevant. The symbol of authority of the prince? No. Option B is the correct answer. Handmaid of the ruling class कि कोई उनके control में थी पूरी education system at that time. All right. The question number 3 is, what does the word infallibility mean? So when I was reading the passage, I told its meaning. So let's see what are the options. First, that every man is open to error. B, that some divine power is responsible for determining the fate of men. C, the virtue of not making any mistake. D, sensitivity. So the first option is that every man is open to error. हर इंसान गलती कर सकता है, बिल्कुल कर सकता है, but this is not the meaning of infallibility. Next option is that some divine power is responsible for determining the fate of men. This also doesn't mean infallibility. The virtue of not making any mistake. Yes, this is the correct answer, because as when I was explaining the passage, I told that कि infallibility का मतलब होता है जब कोई इंसान गलती कर ही नहीं सकता है. Infallibility word is being used for the kings. क्योंकि उस टाइम पे जो थ्योरी स्प्रेड हुई थी कि किंग्स कभी गलती कर ही नहीं सकते हैं. सो द वर्च्यू ऑफ नॉट मेकिंग एनी मिस्टेक, ऑप्शन सी इज द करेक्ट आंसर. डी सेंसिटिविटी, डी इज ऑल्सो रॉन्ग, इट इज इरेलीवेंट. So option C is the correct answer. Now the next question is, what did the ruling class in the Christian era think of the poor man? So what is being said for the poor man in the passage? In the second slide we have seen कि poor man के बारे में कुछ लिखा था. So let's see what it is written. What does Christian people, ruling class in the Christian era think of poor man? First, that he is the beloved of God. No, certainly not. Nothing as such is written in the passage. This was not the teaching of that time. B, that he deserves all sympathy of the rich. No, even this is not written in the passage. That he should be strong. Obviously, he should be strong, but this is also not written in the passage. D, that he is meant for serving the rich. Yes, this is mentioned कि जो poor लोग होते हैं उनको ये it is believed that they should work very hard to earn their livelihood. They should always spend their life serving the rich. So yes, option D, that he is meant for serving the rich, is the correct answer. Okay, the next question is, what do you mean by the sweat of his brow? What does it mean? Sweat of his brow is basically a phrase which means A, very hard work, B, the tiny droplets of sweat on the forehead, C, the wrinkles visible on the face, D, the sign of innocence. So let's see. Option first is very hard work. Yes, this is the correct answer. It means the sweat of his brow means very hard work. बहुत मेहनत से, they were always expected during the Christian era that the poor people should work very hard to earn their livelihood and they should always serve the rich. So option A is the correct answer, but we will read the other options also. B, the tiny droplets of sweat on his forehead. No, this is wrong. The wrinkles visible on the face. This option is also wrong. D, the sign of innocence. No, even this is wrong. So the correct answer is A, very hard work. All right. Now let's move to the next question. Why have persons in power always tried to supervise or control education? तो जो लोग भी हमेशा जो पावर में थे, जो पावरफुल होते हैं, why do they always want to control education? क्या रीजन हो सकता है कि उन्हें हमेशा एजुकेशन को कंट्रोल करना होता है? A, because they wanted to educate the whole public. B, because they wanted to deprive the common man of the benefits of education. C, because it is an instrument of knowledge and therefore power. D, none of these. So let's see what is the first option. Because they wanted to educate the whole public. Nothing as such is written in the passage कि this is the reason क्योंकि उन्हें सब पूरी पब्लिक को एजुकेट करना है, सबको पढ़ाना है, सबको एजुकेशन देनी है. That is why they want to have control. No, this is wrong. This is not written in the passage. उनका certainly ये motto तो नहीं था. B, because they wanted to deprive the common man of the benefits of education. नहीं, even this is also wrong. It doesn't mean कि अगर उन्हें चाहिए तो वो लोगों को common man को education ही provide करना चाहते हैं. Even this is wrong. C, because it is an instrument of knowledge and therefore power. So as written in the first line of the sentence that knowledge is power. तो because education से ही knowledge मिलती है, knowledge जब मिलती है then you are powerful. So because they want power in their hands, they do not want to leave power anyhow. That is the main reason they always wanted to have supervisor control of education. So option C is the correct answer. D, none of these. This is wrong. Option C is the correct answer. The next question is, what does the philosophy of laissez-faire stand for? Option A is joint control of the means of production by the state and private enterprise. B, individual freedom in the economic field. C, full development of the individual's personality. D, none of these. So option A is joint control of the means of production by state and private enterprise. This is wrong, because when I was explaining the passage, I told the meaning of this word. So iska certainly ye matlab nahi hota ki state or private enterprise ka joint control ho. That is wrong. B, individual freedom in economic field. Economic field mein freedom, even this is wrong. Ye bhi irrelevant hai. Full development of the individual's personality. No, it doesn't mean option C is also wrong. D, none of these. Yes, D is the answer, none of these. Actually, the real meaning of laissez-faire is the policy of leaving things to their own course without interfering. Basically, minimum interference rakhna, that is called laissez-faire. All right, so option D, none of these is the correct answer. Okay, the next question is a grammar-based question. The sentence enclosed within cross has one word that appears in a form that is grammatically incorrect in the context of that sentence. What is the word that appears in an incorrect form, and what would be its appropriate form in the context of the sentence? So we are going to read out the options. Ki kaun sa answer sahi hai. Then I'm going to switch back to the passage and we can read the sentence once again. Option A is imparted, imparts. B, controls, controlled. Supervise, supervising. D, have always, has always. So let's go back to the passage. Yes. So we are reading from here. I hope everybody can see the cross. Education is an instrument which imparted knowledge. Imparted. This is wrong. This is grammatically incorrect. Basically, इसमें आना चाहिए education is an instrument which imparts knowledge, because this is the truth. This is a fact. मतलब ये imparted past tense form में use हुआ है. This is something which will never change. Education gave knowledge पहले भी, past में भी, present में भी, in future में भी. तो गलत है. Imparted नहीं, imparts आएगा. This is because this is something which is true. It is based on facts. कि ये हमेशा ही ऐसे रहेगा. जैसे कुछ यूनिवर्सल ट्रुथ होते हैं, तो ये भी यूनिवर्सल ट्रुथ है कि जो एजुकेशन है वो इंस्ट्रूमेंट है जो कि हमेशा नॉलेज देगा. तो which imparts is the correct answer. Which imparts knowledge and therefore indirectly controls power. Even this is correct. There are no changes here. Therefore, ever since the dawn of civilization, persons in power have always tried to supervise or control education. So rest everything is correct. Only this imparted is wrong. It should be imparts. It should be simple tense, simple present tense. Okay. So now let's move to simple tenses. Tenses बहुत ही important topic है, and this is one such topic which we are doing since our childhood days. 5th, 6th, 7th से हम लोग सब tenses के बारे में पढ़ते हैं, but this is one topic which at times become very confusing also. So basically हमारा जो Clat का 2020 pattern है, उस हिसाब से you can जैसे we just solved one question, they can pick one line and they can say this is grammatically incorrect, and it could be incorrect in any ways. Maybe the tense is wrong. So in the last sentence, the last question which we did अभी, तो उसमें क्या था? उसमें tense गलत था. So for that we should have a very proper knowledge of tenses कि कौन सा tense कब आता है. So in this slide we are not going to discuss about all the tenses, but in particular in this session I'm going to discuss about simple tenses, just simple tenses, and in the upcoming sessions we'll discuss more about tenses. So in this particular session I'm going to tell you what are the various uses, कौन सा tense कब कैसे क्यों आना चाहिए. So basically we are going to do that. So let's proceed. Simple tenses, simple verb tenses. The simple tense in English is the most basic way to express at what time an action is taking place. The three types of tenses are present tense, past tense, future tense. Simple tense सबसे basic तरीका होता है किसी action को express करने का कि when an action is going on, when an action is taking place. So three types of tenses होते हैं. This is very easy: present tense, past tense, future tense. Okay. जैसे कि एक example है, the simple tense is outlined in an example using a regular verb. So we are just using a regular verb, jump. तो हर tense में कौन सा form of verb आएगा? We'll do that. Simple present, I jump. मतलब मैं अभी जंप कर रही हूँ. सिंपल पास्ट आई जम्प्ड कि आई हैव ऑलरेडी जम्प्ड, मैं जंप कर चुकी हूँ. सिंपल फ्यूचर आई विल जंप मीन्स मैं अभी जंप करने वाली हूँ. So this is the difference between the three of them. All right. Now there are some examples of simple present tense. Some examples of actions that present tense expresses are habits. So सबसे पहले example, he drinks tea every morning, he get up every day at 5 o'clock. तो basically when we are talking about a habit, जो हमारी habit है which we do daily and वो कभी change नहीं होती, तो उसके लिए हम कभी भी past tense या future tense नहीं use करते. So for habits, we always use present tense. He drinks tea every morning because ये drank नहीं होगा, he will drink नहीं होगा because this is something he's doing daily. This is something which is part of his routine. So he drinks tea every morning. I get up every day at 5 o'clock. So waking up at 5 o'clock is in my everyday routine. This is something which I'm doing daily. So in these types of sentences, in all those sentences which in which the thing is done out of habit and which is a part of routine, so in all that sentences, we never use past tense or future tense. We always use present tense. The next is to express general truths. तो जब हम किसी एक truth के बारे में बात कर रहे हैं जो which is a reality which cannot be changed, we always use present tense. Honey is sweet. So honey will always be sweet. Kabhi honey was sweet, honey will be sweet. All this is wrong because this is a fact. Honey is something which has to be sweet. So fortune favors the brave. So in such sentences, the sun rises in the east. So in all these sentences, we are talking about truth. Knowledge imparts, education imparts knowledge. In the last passage, the passage which we have done now, उसमें भी ये एक चीज ये है जो कि fact है, जो कि change नहीं होती, वो एक general truth के बारे में बात कर रहे हैं. तो in these type of sentences, we will never use past tense or future tense. We always use present tense. Next is in exclamatory sentences starting with here and there to express what is going to take place in present. Basically, जब कोई exclamatory sentence होता है और and when it is starting with here and there कि अभी कुछ होने वाला है, तो in that type of sentences also we always use simple present tense. Here comes the bus. अभी बस आने वाली है, there she goes. So in these type of sentences also we always use simple present tense. Next is in vivid narrative. So basically when somebody is narrating a story, is narrating something, जब कोई आप narration का part होता है, आपके किसी story का part होता है, तो we always use present tense. Immediately the sultan hurries to the capital. Shoran now rushes forward and deals a heavy blow to Rosa. So in all these sentences, we have used simple present tense because these are all part of the narration, part of storytelling. Okay, the next use is to express a future event that is a part of a fixed program. तो जब हम किसी future event के बारे में बात कर रहे हैं, but वो future event is a part of a fixed program, जो कि fixed रहता है, ठीक है? वो ऐसा नहीं है कि वो एक ही बार हो रहा है, but that is in routine, that it goes on in routine, it is a fixed program. So in that cases also we always use simple present tense. Example, the match starts at 9 o'clock in the morning. तो match हर रोज ही 9 o'clock सुबह शुरू होता है. So this is something which is a part of a fixed program. And it could be a future event, it is a future event, but it is a part of a fixed program. Second is the train leaves at 5:35 p.m. So the train will always leave, every day leave at the same time. So ऐसे future events में जो कि एक part है fixed program के, we always use simple present tense. Okay. Next is to introduce quotations. So some in quotations also we always use present tense. कभी भी वो change नहीं हम उनमें कर सकते. Tagore says beauty is the ultimate reality. Osho says self-knowledge is ultimate knowledge. So whenever we are doing a sentence, the beauty was the ultimate reality, or beauty will be the ultimate reality. All this is wrong. This is completely wrong. Quotations cannot be changed. It will remain as they are. वो जैसी हैं वैसे ही रहने वाली हैं. तो इसीलिए to when we are talking about a quotation or when we are using a quotation, we will never change their tenses. Next is verb conjugation for simple present tense. So this is something which is very basic, but a lot of times, a lot of people are easily mistaken in this part. So I'll just explain. Regular verb jump हम use कर रहे हैं. तो whenever we are using this pronoun I, we always use jump. I, you, we, they. You चाहे singular हो, plural हो, they हो, we हो, I हो. We always use jump. But if the pronoun is he, she, it, we use jumps. He jumps into the swimming pool. ठीक है? तो इन सब चीजों में I, you, we, they हम jump use करते हैं और he, she, it में हम jumps use करते हैं. It is always the verb is always used with the s. Now there are some sentence examples. She bites her nails. So abhi she hai to we are using a verb with an s. She bites her nails. So this is a habit. Somebody is doing this thing out of habit. तो हमेशा इसमें आएगा simple present tense. Do not bite your nails. So this is an instruction. Sun rises in the east. So this is the fact जो कि कभी change नहीं होगा. तो sun rose, sun will rise. All this is wrong because this is a fact. This will remain unchanged. So this will always come in present tense. I live in Paris. So this is an unchanging situation. You cannot do about it because you are living there. We love Belgium chocolate ice cream. So even this is also an unchanging situation. If you love Belgium chocolate ice cream, this is a fact. तो ये भी change नहीं होगा. So we will always use simple present tense. Now, the next part is simple past tense. Now let's see what are the uses of simple past tense. The simple past tense, also called past tense, is used to express actions that are completed at any time in recent or distant past or for any duration of time. तो simple past tense वो actions को express करने के लिए use किया जाता है जो कि अभी past में बीच में कितने भी time के लिए खत्म हो चुके हों. Past is something which have already been done, जो कि हो चुकी है. We add ed to the end of the regular verb to create simple past tense. तो basically past tense create करने के लिए we add ed to the regular verb. And let's see the verb conjugation for simple past tense, verb forms for simple past tense. Now we are using the same regular verb jump. So it is very simple. As said earlier also, we just add ed to the verb. I jumped, you jumped, he, she, it jumped, we jumped, you plural jumped, they jumped. Now let's see the sentences. The streamer sailed yesterday. Kal steamer sail hua tha. So this is, we are talking about an action which had already happened in the past. So we are using ed. I received his letter a week ago. एक हफ्ते पहले ही मुझे उसका लेटर मिला था. तो this is something which has been done, with the action हो चुका है. She left school last year. Last year ही उसने school छोड़ दिया था. So this is something which had already been done. He studied many hours every day. I learned Hindi in Nagpur. So in all these sentences, we are talking about an action which had already been done in the past, which already had been completed. So that was simple past tense. Now we are going to discuss our last topic, which is simple future tense. The simple future tense, also called future tense, is used to express actions that will certainly occur at any time later than now. Basically future से हमें समझ में आता है कि कोई action जो कि होने वाला है, future में आगे हो सकता है. Add will or shall before the verb to create the simple future tense. So basically simple future tense को create करने के लिए we simply add will or shall. Will jump, will go, will cook, will dance, shall write, all these types of sentences. Now verb conjugation for simple future tense. We just add will or shall. एक I जो होता है उसमें हम shall भी यूज कर सकते हैं, will भी यूज कर सकते हैं. It's very versatile. You can use anything you want. But with other pronouns like you, he, she, it, we, you, they, we always use will. तो हम बस shall I के लिए यूज कर सकते हैं. रेस्ट बाकी सब में we always use will. तो I shall or will jump. You singular will jump. He, she, it will jump. We will jump. You plural will jump. They will jump. So now let's see the sentences. I shall be 20 next Saturday. मैं अगले Saturday को 20 years की होंगी. So this is something which is going to happen. जो अभी हुई नहीं है, जो ना अभी हो रही है, but this is some action which will happen in the future. It will be Diwali next week. अगले हफ्ते दिवाली आने वाली है. So this is something which has not happened, लेकिन वो अभी future में होने वाला है. We will know our exam results in May. हमें हमारे एग्जाम रिजल्ट्स मई में पता चलेंगे. दिस इज समथिंग विच वी आर गोइंग टू नो इन मे, विच विल हैपन इन मे. फ्यूचर में ये चीज अभी होने वाली है. आई थिंक इंडिया विल विन द मैच. मुझे ऐसा लगता है कि इंडिया मैच जीत जाएगी. तो दिस इज समथिंग कि ये वो सेंटेंस नहीं है जिसमें कि अभी इंडिया जीत चुकी है या अभी जीत रही है, बट दिस इज समथिंग कि वो जीत सकती है. दिस इज माई ओपिनियन कि आई थिंक इंडिया विल विन द मैच. हो सकता है कि इंडिया जीत जाए. आई एम श्योर हेलन विल गेट अ फर्स्ट क्लास. मैं श्योर हूँ कि हेलन को फर्स्ट क्लास मिलेगी. तो दिस इज नॉट समथिंग कि उसे ये चीज मिल चुकी है, बट आई थिंक, आई होप, आई विश कि ऐसा हो सकता है फ्यूचर में दैट शी विल गेट अ फर्स्ट क्लास. So that's all for today. In the next class, we are going to discuss about reading comprehension and continuous tenses. So thank you very much.
Thank you so much, ma'am, for taking out time and joining us. Kids, let's meet tomorrow again for a session on current affairs, and we will be discussing migrant crisis.
Thank you.
Thank you.